Good morning and happy Monday, everybody. This is the best morning show in finance. We don't have Spencer today, but that's okay. We know how to do this by now. We're going to be talking Bitcoin. We're talking a little bit of earnings. Maybe I'll even get JC to talk politics and discuss this Russian coup. We got Tyler Wood of the CMT coming on with us in just 15 minutes, so there's a lot to discuss. Let's go. You're watching the morning show.
All right. Do we really have to talk politics? It sounds so boring.
You know, I listened to a live Twitter space about it because I was in the car a lot this weekend for maybe 6, 7, 8 hours. And just as I was about to come on here and give like citizen journalism a huge win for the weekend, because there was like 50, 60,000 people in this space. It ran for about 24 hours.
And they're talking about politics?
They were covering the coup live as it happened. So that's why the space was so big. Had a lot of experts on there talking. But listen, as it turns out, the next day, it was a big hoopla about all the misinformation that was kind of spread on there. So while it was really cool and like they were probably doing a better job or could have done a better job than somebody like CNN, it seems like they kind of ruined that opportunity.
It sounds like a terrible way to spend a weekend. I got to tell you, Strazza.
But see, this is the push that Elon Musk is making.
So hold on. So you're spending. You drove from Key West all the way to Miami, from Miami all the way to Key West. Listen to this conversation about an information that wasn't even right. That sounds miserable. What did your girlfriend say about this? She was okay with this?
No, she puts. You know what she actually does? She puts in her AirPods and listens to her own.
Smart girl. You got a winner on your hands there, Strazza. Smart girl. I do the same thing. I'm like wondering, what is this poor girl doing? She's listening to her own shit. Good for her.
No, but you know, it's interesting watching, like, this is like the evolution of like the media landscape. Like these guys are really trying to do that. Elon is retweeting their stuff.
It sounds terrible. It wasn't even correct information. It sounds terrible. Why can't you just like wait a few days and read what actually happened if you're really so interested in it?
Nobody still knows. That's like the crazy part. But there was one guy on there kind of like nailing it the whole time, and they like put him in a corner and made him sound crazy and were like questioning the validity of everything he was saying.
Honestly, this sounds terrible. Can we get into the markets? This is ridiculous, Strazza. The fact that you even do this is ridiculous. Shame on you. Can we get State of the Markets going? Hit it, Izzy. All right, guys, I don't know what the rest of you are doing here, but me personally, I'm in the market so I can make money. I know sometimes that sounds crazy, and people are like, oh, JC, you're so selfish. You don't even care about the companies. You just care about making money. It's like, yeah, that's right. That's exactly what it is. I don't care at all about the companies or their CEOs or their employees or the implications of stocks going up and down or recessions or expansions. I don't care at all. You know what I'm trying to do, Strazza? I'm trying to sell things at higher prices than where I buy them. Is there anything wrong with that as an investor?
One caveat. You do care about the CEOs and employees if they're buying stock.
I don't care if the employees are buying stock or not. I care if the CEOs are buying stock only in the open market. And yes, in that case, I am interested. But that's literally the exception that makes the rule. Let's get into things that actually matter to our portfolios, which is what we're here to do. Not here gossip about what may or may not be happening in Russia. I want to talk about the US dollar. Spencer's not here. Spencer's like, JC, nobody wants to talk about the dollar. They want to talk about Tesla. Well, Spencer's not here. So you know what we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about what's driving the stock market. You know, I'm getting people like, JC, if this is a bull market, it's the first time ever that we have a bull market under the circumstances. And I'm like, first time ever under the circumstances? The majority of stock prices have been going up over the last year all over the world? Isn't that literally the definition of a bull market? What do you mean? Like, this would be the first time under the circumstances that it would not be a bull market. What are you talking about? Literally, the majority of stocks going up for a prolonged period of time is literally the definition of a bull market. And that's exactly what we've seen. And I don't think that it's a coincidence at all that the dollar has really been weak since the end of September, early October, and stocks have really gotten going to the upside, particularly around the world, not just U.S. stocks. In fact, as we've discussed, the U.S. stock market is an underperformer, right? So just because your country is underperforming, that's not the bull market's fault. In fact, if you go back and study history over 100 years and go back and study all these bull markets, you know what you're going to find a lot of? You're going to find the United States underperforming in a lot of those bull markets, right? Just because in the last cycle, the United States underperformed for so long doesn't mean that has to happen this cycle. In fact, chances are it definitely will not, because that's actually pretty rare. So here we are. You got the US dollar index peaking in late September, early October, coming down pretty aggressively. And the stock market has certainly really rejoiced in that sort of situation, has done very, very, very well. I want to make sure that I've got the right mic. Are we back? Are we better now? Is this a better microphone, guys? Better, right? Rock and roll, Strazza?
You sound fine to me.
All right, cool. All right. So notice how the stock market has done so well with the U.S. dollar falling. And I'll take a look at the next chart. Now we're looking at first the S&P 500. Now we're looking at the All Country World Index. It's really been a global phenomenon with the dollar falling. Global assets, Europe was the big outperformer in the fourth quarter last year. It's really been just emerging markets that have really struggled. So let's take a look at emerging market currencies to get an idea of what the emerging market stocks are going to do. What ends up happening is that the emerging market stocks have a much higher correlation with emerging market currencies than you're going to see elsewhere, certainly in the United States. So emerging market currencies hitting new 52-week highs over the last couple of weeks, to me, it's not a negative, right? That's negative for the dollar. In my opinion, I think that's positive for stocks, generally speaking. And then I'm going to throw this nasty one at you, and this is regional bank stocks. Pull up the regional banks there, Izzy. Does this look like a bottom to you? Does this look like a bottoming process to you? Does it look like a consolidation within an ongoing downtrend? I really don't know what to make of this. It doesn't scream any of those things. It's kind of like, all right, we're going to need to monitor and wait and see, because to me, these are the culprits, right? I mean, granted, these are small, little, tiny banks that clearly nobody cares about. The question is, at some point, will they start to care? That really is the big question. And then finally, fun fact, Bitcoin hitting new 52-week highs. Throw that Bitcoin up, Izzy. There we go. Bitcoin hitting new 52-week highs. Is this the right chart? I don't think that's the right chart. Oh, I added the wrong chart. Damn it, JC. Anyway, this chart is like a day old. It actually did hit new 52-week highs. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about any of those things, Strazza? Are you still worried about what's happening in Russia? You don't even live in Russia. You live in Key West. What does it matter?
I'm not worried about what's happening in Russia. Funny guy.
I think you are. I think you're worried about what's happening in Russia.
Listen, I'll just say, and I have nothing else to say about it. If God forbid, that was a moment where Putin was being overthrown in any way, that's world history. So I was just interested for that.
I think because you were in Sunny Isles in Miami, which is a lot of Russians live there. Is that why now all of a sudden you're Mr. Russia guy?
I went out to the beach real early. Nobody was out there, and I was listening to the spaces by myself. And then before I know it, there's a bunch of people around me, and they were all Russian. And I was listening to literally anti-Russian propaganda on spaces, so I had to really turn it down.
Dude, yeah. This is what Strazza does on the weekends. He goes to the beach by himself and listens to Russian propaganda, anti-Russian propaganda. No, this is what your life has come to.
Listen, Bitcoin looks good. Enough with Russia. Bitcoin looks great. The rest of the space maybe not so good. Would you rather, to express a bullish thesis on Bitcoin for the next 1 to 3 months, would you rather be in Bitcoin or anything else? And if something else, what is it? You said you're here to make money, right? So that's the question. How do we make money off of this new bull market in crypto potentially?
I was in a crypto sort of environment last Thursday evening, with some young guns, right? The kids, some younger folks. And I was kind of getting abused for being long Bitcoin. I was getting abused a little bit.
Weren't you with Bitcoin people though?
I was with crypto people, not so much Bitcoin people per se. Which I suppose crypto people you can classify as Bitcoin people as well, but they were like, JC, you're not going to get 150 bagger in Bitcoin, and I'm like, I'm really not.
That's probably true. That's probably true. I mean, I'm looking for a 10 bagger, maybe,
Well,
Listen, we still haven't stuck the landing yet. Where are we on the old Bitcoin right now? Still hovering around 30,000. I really want to see this break out above 31,000 and really stick that landing. We haven't seen it yet. Bitcoin right around 30,350, pretty much flat for the week, but new 52-week highs, Strazza. Are we going to
the
should we be making a bigger deal out of the fact that we're hitting new 52-week highs, or is it just one of those, whatever?
No, this is a big deal. The behavior of the consolidation that began this weekend, I'm talking about the last 3 candles that you're looking at, is incredibly bullish, very constructive, right? High and tight. It's right there.
At the April highs.
Yeah, I'll be damned if this thing doesn't go soon. Yeah.
I'll be damned if it doesn't. Will you be damned? You will be damned?
Can I talk about the banks?
Yeah, talk about the banks. You gonna talk about Russian banks or American banks?
I told the guys I want to talk about charts. Alfonso goes, "What Russia charts?" I go, "There are none anymore."
That's right. That's right.
So yeah, the banks have had enough time now to really start to manage the issues that they're having. Like, I just want to talk about a headline from today. Izzy, run the "What's Moving" bumper. We're gonna do these sections. You're
Hit
done
it, Izzy.
with
Hit
Mark.
it.
So, what's moving today? The answer is not much. We got a little bit of, pre-market movement from Pfizer on some drug news, Google on a downgrade. Outside of that, what really stands out is this Pacific West, right? So, JC was just talking about the recent weakness in regional banks. Last week was a particularly bad week for these guys. Regional banks have, fallen for 5 straight days now, given back a lot of those gains from May and early June. Let's look at the laggards, right? Let's look at the troubled banks. One of them is Pacific West. They're in the news today because what they did was effectively they're trying to sell off
What's
some
the
of
ticker
their
symbol for this thing?
PACW. So they're trying to sell off some of their problem loans, right? And actually, they're not even problem loans. They're just trying to shrink their balance sheet a little bit, right? So they're selling off some of their loan book because I guess the risk is the bigger these companies' loan books are, the more at risk they are of higher interest rates, right? Rates go up more, the value of their loans falls more, their loan to, or their, all their balance sheet ratios start to fall apart. And that's how these banks have been blowing up. So they've had enough time now to kind of manage this crisis. Pacific West just sold 3.5 billion worth, moved that off of their balance sheet to Ares Management. That's ticker symbol ARCC. So we've seen so much of this over the past few weeks and months that maybe banks will be much better equipped to weather additional rate hikes in the future than they were a few months back. Does that make sense?
Stock's up 6.5% pre-market. So whatever it is that they just did,
They just did what I just said.
no, I know, but like, what does that really even mean?
They took 3.5 billion off of their balance sheet in loan receivables and they moved it away. They got cash for it instead.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. That sounds great. I'm more interested in how the market reacts to whatever it is that you just said, and whatever it is that they did. What you're saying may or may not be true. I don't care. Stock's up 6.5%. So what you're saying is that whatever happened may also be happening in other banks. And let me ask you one other question. The fact that interest rates have come off some on the 10-year yield, even though we've got a little bit of a bounce, is that generally good for these regional banks?
The fact that what's come off a bit?
10-year.
Yeah.
Maybe from the March highs, came down some.
Banks want lower rates. In fact, notice that weakness in banks over the past 5 days that I'm talking about. What happened with Fed fund futures last week? They started pricing in a far more aggressive Fed.
Yeah. And they're raising rates overseas too. Didn't the Bank of England raise or something like that? Bank of Europe?
The Bank of England gave us a spicy double last week. They were like, this thing's not over. We're doing a double. Yeah.
What about earnings? Is there any earnings, or are we done with that?
Carnival's supposed to have earnings, but I haven't even seen it hit the wire. Trying to get our guy to get back to me over here. We have no earnings today.
Carnival up 1.9% here pre-market.
They must have reported it didn't come across. Let me double check here.
Carnival Cruise Lines and Royal Caribbean both have doubled this year. Hello. doubled in price. Pretty solid action there. And I want to just show the small caps. Throw up slide 1 there, guys. Throw up slide 1 so you can see sort of the situation, the predicament that we find ourselves in small caps. You're going to have a bunch of regional banks in here as well. By the way, the exposure to financials within small caps is not as high as I thought. You've got 13.2% financials in the Russell 2000, and in the S&P 500 you have 12%. So it's not like this like dramatic like increase in exposure. You have a much more dramatic increase in exposure in healthcare. Healthcare going from 13% in the S&P 500 to almost 18% in the Russell 2000, and also in industrials. Industrials, you got 8% of the S&P 500 is industrials, about twice that in the Russell 2000. So I would say you're probably getting a bigger change, a bigger addition to healthcare and certainly industrials than you are financial. So I think the exposure that the Russell 2000 has to regional banks might be a little overblown. Just a heads up there. But that's what we're seeing. This is a big one. I think industrials is the big driver here, and industrials got pretty close to at the large cap level, pretty close to new 52-week highs last week.
So look at the chart on slide 1. What's your take on this? Let's throw this up, Fonz.
Throw it up, Fonz. Throw it up.
Oh my God. We're gonna get Tyler Wood on here.
We are gonna get Tyler Wood on here. Yeah, where you been? Too busy listening to anti-Russian propaganda on the beach in Russian beaches in Miami?
No, he's coming on early.
Oh, he's coming on early. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on in. Let's talk about this chart, and then we'll bring in Mr. Tyler Wood.
What's going on here? So I got industrials relative trend charted in 2 different ways. We're looking at large cap industrials in both of these ratio charts, right? But in blue, we're looking at the equal weight indexes, equal weight large cap industrials versus equal weight S&P 500. In black, moving in the opposite direction all year now, we're looking at basically XLI SPY, right? The spider large cap industrials versus the cap weighted traditional S&P 500. Why are they moving in opposite directions?
Well, the denominator is a big factor there, right? So when you are denominating in an equally weighted S&P 500, you're eliminating that massive exposure to mega cap growth, which has been the big leader. So I think to me, it's more about the denominator and less about the numerator, right? If you are going to denominate in a market cap weighted index that is the S&P 500 in an environment where these mega caps have dramatically outperformed, then it's just going to be hard for line to go up if denominator is strong.
You nailed it. It's really as simple as that. The S&P has almost quadrupled the performance of the equal weight S&P 500 this year. So the fact that the black line is being benchmarked against something that's outperforming the other benchmark by 4x, that's why lines are moving in opposite directions. And ultimately,
it's like long-term charts priced in yen. Like, of course, it's going to look good. Like, even gold looks great priced in yen.
Yeah. Listen, I was talking to Mark Newton this weekend, and he made a great point. When he does his relative trend analysis, only equal weight. And I think there's always you have to ask the question, what am I trying to do? His goal is always information, right? He's not trying to look at what to buy. When you're looking for what to buy, vehicles to buy, yeah, you want to look at the spiders because they're going to be stronger a lot of times, right? But in terms of just wanting to assess the internals of a sector, he says only the equal weights, rely on the equal weights. So what that would mean is that the better information is in the blue line, like JC's saying. Industrials have been an incredibly strong group, but when you benchmark something against the S&P 500, you're asking how it's performing against the 5 largest and best stocks in the world. And this year, that's been tough.
I think this goes back to the old, our old conversation that we've had a zillion times over and over again. Do you look at cap weighted indexes? Do you look at equally weighted indexes?
What's your objective?
The answer is we do both.
Yeah.
There's different times where you're getting better information from one or the other, but it's not even better information. It's just information. And then you decide what is more valuable in that particular environment. When we look at countries around the world, should we price them in local currency or should we price them in US dollars? Again, the answer is we do both, right? So, do you look at candlestick charts or do you look at line charts? Well, we do both, right? So I think it gets back to that. I think there's a time and a place for everything. And if you're choosing one over the other, I think there's going to be environments where you wish you were doing the other one and you don't know until you're going through it. So I think the answer remains continue to do both and you're going to get different information from both. In fact, like we know, because we look at it a zillion times and we do this all day, that the cap weighted S&P 500 is dramatically outperforming the equally weight, because what's in the cap weighted S&P 500 is the stocks that have been doing the best this year. Last year, the stocks that dominate the cap weighted S&P 500 were doing the worst. So of course the equally weighted index was outperforming. So it's easy for us to recognize that because we do this every day, but without all of this information and all of these different angles that we approach the market with, would it be so obvious to us that that's what's going on? I'd argue no. So we're going to continue to do both and weigh all of the evidence. I mean, that's why technical analysis works, because what we're doing is we're looking for trends and we're looking for them in a variety of different ways. It's a weight of the evidence, right?
Yep. No, that was really insightful. A bit long-winded though. We got to get Tyler on here.
Tyler, get him in. Why are we in such a rush to get Tyler? Jay, we've been friends for a long time. Make the call.
I mean, this is pretty professional, guys.
Nice show you got going here.
Tyler Wood in the house. What's up, T. Wood? Is he in?
Sorry.
What's up, gentlemen? How you doing this morning?
Hey.
What's going on, brother?
Hey,
Sorry to get you on here so late. Do you have to run at 9? You do, right?
how's No. We'll be good.
I guess.
How's everybody's weekend been? You sitting at the beach? You getting sunburned?
I'm not. Maybe
You guys are
JC
struggling
is.
to hear me, aren't you?
I'm Cuban. I grew up in Miami. It's tough for me to get sunburned. Strazza's got that Italian love. Not all of us are Vikings from Minnesota, Tyler Wood. Big hairy Vikings, right?
I went shopping for
a little bit of Norwegian, a little
shopping.
Icelandic, a lot of sunburn.
A lot of sunburn.
Yeah, it was a good
Okay,
weekend.
so for those
Played
of you who
a,
don't,
music
for those of
festival.
you guys who don't know, I think Tyler's on a little bit of a delay, right? Are you guys having trouble?
Yeah, it's
Come on,
bad.
Tyler.
Like, just go slow.
probably
So
the
Tyler
thunderstorms.
Wood, managing director over at the CMT Association. For those of you who don't know Tyler Wood, the CMT Association is what it is today, and a lot of the work being done behind the scenes. Big credit goes out to Tyler Wood. He doesn't get enough credit. Some of us are fully aware, Tyler, how much work you're putting in there. So to shout out T. Wood.
I love the sound effects, bro. DJ JC. That's awesome.
You like that? You like that? I like how you turned down the volume because it was hurting my ear last time you did that. So while we have you on the show, we've got a world tour coming up. Izzy, can I get a yes if you have the trailer ready so we can play the trailer while Tyler's here?
Can I get a
Can
hell
I
yeah?
get a yes in the chat? Can I get a hell yeah in the chat, Izzy, if you have it ready? But
No.
we do not have it. Tyler, can you tell the folks what's going to be happening over the next 3 weeks and how sad you are that you're not going to be going and Joel goes instead?
He's going on the next
so
one.
for those who don't know, CMT Association stands for Chartered Market Technicians, and there are chartered market technicians all over the world. Place got started about 50 years ago on Wall Street in New York, quickly moved to expanded to Boston. But as JC will tell you, technical analysis is a universal global language. So we've got members all over the world, 137 countries. And next, what is it, 2 weeks from now? 3 weeks from now? I think
It's like 1 week.
It's like 1 week. Strazza's already packed. So we're bringing Steve Strazza and Sean McLaughlin to CMT chapters all over the Asia Pacific region. My colleague, Joel Panicott, who leads our efforts east of the Thames, is bringing you guys around to Hong Kong and Singapore and Tokyo and Vietnam and Kuala Lumpur and all the rest of the major chapters for the CMT Association. So we're really looking forward to those presentations. But also what we found this last year is that post-COVID, people really appreciate getting together for that networking effect. It's a little isolating to be a trader. And if you're doing it on your own and you're not learning lessons from others who came before you, you're probably paying too much tuition to the market. Those mistakes can be avoided by learning from the best. And that's what JC and I did as kids 10 years ago in the CMT Association, pulling aside the veterans that really invented, innovated, and helped us understand how to apply this beautiful set of tools. And so we're going to do some more of that over in the Asia Pacific region next month.
Tyler, I like what you said there. Tyler was talking about how, if you're not learning from your predecessors and not learning from, those who are very experienced, and even your contemporaries, in my experience, you're going to pay too much tuition, which brings us back to another point that, in the market, you have to pay your tuition. Those early losses, those early mistakes, even the mistakes you continue to make 20 years into the game, 30 years into the game, ask the veterans, they're still making mistakes. I certainly do. I like what you said there. Pay less tuition. I like that. And you're 100% right. I was incredibly fortunate to live in New York City throughout much of the 2000s and teens. From 2004 to 2015, I was in New York City, and I was at every CMT chapter event that I can get to. I mean, I rarely missed one. I saw everybody, and I learned so much from so many of them over the years that I would highly encourage all of you to contact your local chapter. We're getting a message here from Nikki. Can someone like me get involved with the CMT? I actually bought most of the books already. I just thought that you had to be sponsored to take the exam. Let me clarify, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Tyler Wood. My understanding is that you don't get sponsored until after you take the exams. Do I have that right?
That is correct. The CMT exam process, the CMT program, it's 3 levels, 3 exams, 3 letters, change your whole life. That's open to everybody. And we've got a university program, an academic outreach. So there are non-professionals, university students, who are sitting for level 1 even before they've graduated, right? This is part of the learning process. And then it's once you've finished the program and you have your 3 years experience in the industry, then you become a chartered market technician. And so I want to clarify for everybody, there are no prerequisites. You don't have to take a class with the CMT Association. You don't have to have a graduate degree or an MBA or something like that to sit for this program. It is open to all who are interested in or aspiring professionals in the field. And so that learning process is where you start, but the learning continues for the next 30 years. So membership in the CMT Association is critical. When people finish the CMT program, they become full professional members. And then we talk a lot about acting for and on behalf of CMT charter holders.
Tyler, to your point, anybody can start. I think we might have one of the youngest CMTs ever on our team right now.
I feel like we seem to quite regularly have the youngest CMT.
We're breaking our own record. Evan's like 19, 20 maybe. No,
Evan graduated high school like 2 weeks ago or something. But I think he's one of these like post grad. He did like an extra, like a right.
He just sat for level 3, and he hasn't even began his freshman year of college.
Evan Duttil. Yes, I think he might be the youngest CMT. For a long time, that title was held by.
Shout out, dude! We're gonna be recruiting at like elementary schools, trying to break our own record soon. What do you think?
That's right. I didn't realize Evan had enough time off the ice. Right? He's a really great hockey player. Right?
He's from Maine. It's what they do up there. I think. Right. It's like a thing, right? They eat lobsters and play hockey.
For all of us along the Canadian border, we share a lot of Canadian culture. So yes, hockey.
Sean McLaughlin thinks he's Canadian. He's not. He's as American, as apple pie. He's no Canadian. He thinks he is though.
Yeah. He has a Canadian personality.
All right. So on July the 4th, the evening of July the 4th, Steve Strazza, Sean McLaughlin, Giancarlo, and team are going to head out to Asia, Singapore, Kuala Lumpur, Ho Chi Minh, Bangkok, Manila, Taipei, Hong Kong, and Tokyo. If you are in any of these cities on any of those dates, please reach out to us. Come hang out with the crew. I will be there in spirit. I'm going to be the Basil expedition, like on the iPad, being like, all right, guys, make sure you get the chicken rice in Singapore because it's delicious. That's going to be, that's going to be me. Should we play the trailer for the folks who haven't seen it? Play the trailer. Hit it.
The following presentation was brought to you by Centerpoint. Hey, I'm John Carlo, the director of video content here at All Star Charts.
Brokerage accounts. Oh, shit, Giancarlo.
We're good.
I've been with the team for a while now, and we've gone on some pretty crazy adventures. From starting a wine business in Napa, California with our friend Kyle. Next time you're up in Calistoga, find Kyle and tell him I said hey. To the streets of India to meet with mentors and friends before speaking at a giant symposium full of stock traders and analysts. To searching for Japanese candlesticks in Tokyo.
If you were a Japanese candlestick, where would it be? We went all over town. We went to the fish market looking for Japanese candlesticks. They had no idea what we were talking about. Yeah, candlesticks. You know I can find candlesticks?
Candlesticks? Japanese candlesticks?
Which led us to politely being kicked out of the Tokyo Stock Exchange.
Staff only? Okay. Okay, do you know where the candlesticks are? No? All right.
And now, I'm here to let you know about our latest web series, Wall Street to All Streets, a global trading adventure. We plan on sending our all-star options trader, Sean McLaughlin,
I'm the chief option strategist at All Star Charts. You know that. That's why you're here.
and our rockstar director of research, Steve Strazza,
We're out here trying to gauge the animal spirits with the stock market at new all-time highs today. Excuse me, sir. Sir, you mind if we ask you a few questions about the stock market? No? He's definitely not buying these new highs.
on a fish out of water adventure around the world, where they will meet with trading legends, the best traders in the world, to learn directly from them on how they approach life as a trader, how they trade, what they trade, which markets they trade, and of course, local customs. I mean, this is a travel show, right? JC Parets will be cooking up fun challenges and tasks for our adventures from his trade desk back in the States. Is Strazza ready to drink snake wine in Vietnam? You bet he is. Is Sean ready to do improv comedy in a language he doesn't even speak? Oui, oui. Join us for our adventures, and we'll see you on another continent. Wall Street to all streets.
Yo. Oh,
That's
right?
gonna be a good trip.
Listen, Tyler, for me, this is how I look at it. I'm incredibly fortunate, as you know, by the way, with a little nudge from you. So thank you for that. Back in the day, going to a lot of these countries, most of those, a lot of them.
Your first trip to India was with me, right?
My first trip to India was with you. But by the time I got to India, I had already been to Singapore, KL. I had already been to Hong Kong. Pretty sure I had already been to Tokyo by then. I had been to Taipei, Manila. Me and Nikki Yu hanging out in Manila. Dude, Nikki Yu's quite the character there, Strazza. One thing I'll tell you about Nikki Yu, she might think the Philippines is the greatest country of all time. And maybe it is. But I'll tell you what, she knows where to eat. She knows where to eat.
I've been watching like travel documentaries about all these cities. I was watching one on Manila last night. I'm excited for that. Yep.
It's like it was a Spanish colony for a long time. So what ends up happening, it's funny because all the streets, especially like in old Manila, all the streets are like San Agustin, like they're all like Spanish saints, right? And like the local Filipinos pronounce all of the Spanish, because I'm Cuban, so I speak Spanish, obviously. So they pronounce everything perfectly, like if they were from Spain or from Miami, but they don't speak Spanish, but they can pronounce it perfectly.
What language do they speak there? Do we know?
Filipino.
Wow. All right.
Yeah. And English. I mean, listen, everywhere you go, they speak English except for Taipei and Tokyo. Right, Tyler?
Yeah. I would say that. Yeah, you're going to have a good time translating what was definitely intended to be English into what your ears are used to hearing. So keep an open mind. There's a lot of hand gesturing. You'll do great.
So the official language from our resident Filipino, because we have one of those, is called Tagalog. That's new. That's new to me.
Yeah.
Tagalog. All right. It's the official language. All right. Shout out, Izzy. Shout out.
But Tyler, you're right about the CMT and how important it is. I've been involved in so many different professional networks over the years, whether it's doing the CPA, stuff in college, stuff in the Big Four, but never have I met a group of guys who have been more kind, more helpful. It's just such a nice network of people. inside the CMT Association. I have now friends and mentors for the rest of my life, and that's just such a special thing when we all get together like we did just 2 months ago. Now we have such a good time, and no, it's a great group. So.
Who's cooler, the CPAs or the CMTs? Who's cooler?
Dude, I never really even got too much into any of this CPA societies.
What makes you think you need to even ask that question?
It was an alley-oop.
So I'll say this: when I went through the MBA program, and it was a wonderful education. I don't fault Indiana University for teaching me all about fundamental analysis or all about evaluating companies. But I didn't go home at night from class and like pull out all the balance sheets of all the stocks that I was trading to like dig in, right? It's the practical application of technical analysis means that no matter what you are trading, whether it's palm oil futures at Bursa Malaysia, or you're trading Apple stock with some private wealth managers here in the US. The language is universal, and it's such a practical tool that it demands camaraderie and some interpretation, some good discussion about what you're seeing in the charts. And time frame matters, right? Technical analysis works in a fractal way across all time frames. So you can be talking to an intraday trader, you can be talking to a sovereign wealth fund manager who's looking at monthly candles, and you can still have a great conversation. And I think that's the nature of these tools. Generally accepted accounting principles are only generally accepted in certain parts of the world. That's not true for every market around the globe.
You're talking about IFRS. Yeah, I have to add to that because you're so right. We spend a lot of time talking about and hearing about the scalability of companies and the scalability of different businesses, right? Everybody wants to scale like software, or we have scale to a certain degree in what we do, right? JC, you write one post and it scales, right?
Yeah.
You can scale technical analysis as a skill better than any skill you can put in your toolbox for financial markets. It is, like you said, Tyler, you learn it once, you apply it to everything, and more or less the same way. There's slight twerks or tweaks that you would apply, right? But it's scalable to the whole space, everything that we do. And that just alone makes it, to me, like so important and so valuable.
100%. 100%. It's a great community to be a part of.
So I just happen to own CFAlevel4.com. And what I'm thinking about doing with your permission is just do one of those auto forwards to the CMT Association website.
I'll say this, right? The fundamental community over the last few years is paying much closer attention to technical analysis than they ever have before. And I think financial news media love to pit technicians versus fundamental analysts against each other.
I'll take that all day.
Right? Oftentimes they had contrarian opinions. But what we're seeing right now, JC, is that CFA Institute has the CMT program as part of its stackable credential initiative, which means CFA charter holders are actually exempt on the level 1 exam. They can come in and start at level 2 because the same subject matter is treated throughout the 3 levels of CFA.
I love
What's
that.
more important is that the best PMs in the world, talking to Bill Miller's son, Bill Four, at our conference in DC, and then again here in New York. He went through the CMT program in 2016, completed in 2016, because they learned some lessons in the Great Financial Crisis that deep value investing is only made better by using momentum overlays. If you have technicals as well as your fundamental discipline together, right? You fuse those 2 disciplines, you just become a better investor. And Dave Lundgren will tell you, I know he was on the show a couple weeks ago, he spent decades with fundamental PMs who suddenly became really great investors when they added technicals to their toolkit. Doesn't mean you got to throw out everything you know about fundamental analysis, but you can add technicals to your toolkit. And I think that's what we're seeing from the whole industry. Demand for technical research.
By the way, this has been happening. This has been happening for a while because you've been telling me this. It may have been increasing more and more as of late, but this sort of growth of the CMT members from current CFA charter holders is not something that happened yesterday or in COVID. This is something that we've been seeing. It might be accelerating these days, but we've been seeing this for quite some time for good reason.
You know, it's like the Bitcoin chart, right? Like how long did it take to go from $0 to $1,000? And then how long did it take to go from $1,000 to $75,000? Right?
Oh, yeah.
You gotta look at CMT growth on a log chart, JC.
You know, not to give Mark Newton another shout out today. Shout out Mark Newton.
I love Mark.
So many shout outs to Mark Newton today. He said something really interesting on the show last week. He said that for CFAs and for fundamental guys, technical analysis takes the blindfolds off, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your technical analysis, we're actually seeing what is actually happening. Fundamental analysis, this might happen, this could happen, this should happen. Yeah, like all of those things, yeah, maybe. But in technical analysis, we're observing what is actually happening. And that's why technical analysis works, because asset prices trend. We know that. Asset prices are not random. Like, we have the data. If you're into white papers,
there's a quote,
there are plenty
Abraham.
of them. Go ahead.
Yep. There's a quote from Mark Abraham that is just drilled into my brain. He said, ultimately, it's the dollar-weighted collective opinion of all investors that determines whether a stock goes up or down. And you can reveal that consensus by analyzing price. That's such a brilliant quote from a very successful trend-following investor. The point that Mark Abraham is making is that it doesn't really matter shorter term what is happening from a fundamental basis, right? Long-term trends are driven by sound fundamentals or expanding GDP. You look at all that macro data on a long enough time frame, it matters. That's what drives trends. But it's the collective opinion of all investors that puts a stock up or down, right? Supply and demand, as you say, every single day. So I think if you're not paying attention to that, you're missing something. And one quick shout out to a female CMT. Laura Martin was on our podcast early last year when Netflix was down 37%. And every one of the analysts in the TMT sector group that she competes with still had a buy rating. And Laura had that wild contrarian opinion that, hey, the price is going down. Maybe there's something wrong. Maybe we shouldn't own this anymore. She was the only one to have a sell rating at Needham & Company. And it's because of the technicals, right?
You're often swimming against the tide of fundamentals when you do put on the technical lens. And that's another reason why it's so important. It gives you that very different view. We're looking at very different things. I will also just, if I could add one thing, we're talking about like the level of adoption and the popularity of technical analysis here. It's growing, but it's still, Tyler, if you could just speak to this a little bit, on a relative basis, very low, the level of adoption technical analysis here, as opposed to somewhere like Asia. So I'm very excited to go there. I think, talking technicals and really focusing on the charts and how they use those tools, overseas will be a huge part of huge thing that we focus on in this documentary. And I'm just excited to be surrounded by people who like technicals more. I'll really be with my people over there.
Yeah. I mean, I think there are 2 points there to get under.
There's going to be fundamental guys there too, by the way, Strazza. I hate
they're everywhere.
I would say this. You've got a lot of markets around the world that are not so strictly tied to equities, right? Commodities dependent gross domestic product, right? If you're looking throughout Latin America, if you're looking at Canadians, if you're looking at places throughout Asia, and that tie to commodities dependent industries means there's a lot more to price action. And there's a lot less to fundamental equity valuation, right?
Unless you read crowd reports.
Yeah, right. U.S. is obsessed with the equities market because that's the majority of our economy, right? And we're obsessed with Silicon Valley because that's been the driver. Now, the other piece that I will say about other parts of the world is that their acceptance of some of the more subjective aspects of technical analysis, right? So universally, people are looking at statistically significant tools, moving averages. We're looking at volume. We're looking at some oscillators. We might be looking at.
I don't look at any of those things, for the record.
I know you don't, but you did at one point. My point is that overseas, you might have greater acceptance of things like Gann, Elliott, some of the more subjective looking tools.
Did those guys play for the Yankees?
Those guys do not play for the Yankees. W.D. Gann, Ralph Elliott. We're looking at a lot of those tools overseas that have greater acceptance. And I think when you look at folks that are dominated in the currency space, they're going to look at a lot of those tools intraday to help define risk levels, right? And some of the emotional side.
And the Ichiro clouds, right? They love their Ichiro clouds.
Ichimoku?
Yeah, those two.
Yeah.
So Suzanne says that this is an infomercial for the CMT. You bet your ass it is an infomercial for the CMT. And it's not just a CMT. All of our guests, it was an infomercial for Ned Davis Research. It was an infomercial, right, for Mark Newton Advise, or wherever he is now, Fundstrat. It's an infomercial for we just happen to be friends with really, really smart people, and Tyler Wood, of course. No, I'm just kidding. Tyler Wood, a big friend of ours for many, 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 many years. And seriously, Tyler, I'm the one. I feel like I'm the one who's always giving you the credit. You don't get the credit that you deserve. If anybody out there is listening from the CMT Association, if you're a CMT, if you're an aspiring CMT, if you even know what technical analysis is, you have Tyler Wood to thank. There are a handful of people in this world. Tyler, I mean, you know,
I'm going to say this, JC.
I would put you in there with Ralph and some of the others. Like the contribution you've made to this discipline is serious. So thank you for that.
That is so kind. And I'll just say this. I'm only one guy. The only reason that we've been successful is because it's an awesome, powerful global membership. And we saw that, like you said, Steve, 2 months ago at the 50th anniversary symposium. We had Bob Farrell, the first president of the organization at 91, travel all the way up to New York to be a part of the conference. And people were coming out of the woodwork from all over the world. So
a lot of special people.
I just show up with empty hands and I ask you guys for favors. So the only reason we've been successful is because of you, JC, and because of every CMT charter holder around the world. So I've got a lot of people to thank. But if you don't know me personally, my goodness, please introduce yourself. Let's be friends.
Anything you ever need, Tyler, you know you can count on us, of course. And we're going to try to keep breaking records. We'll be recruiting in junior high schools for future CMTs.
My daughter's 9. I think she's ready to work for All-Star Charts.
She wants to beat Evan's record.
Yeah.
All right. I will challenge her. I hear Tyler's daughter is the smartest one in the family, right? She gets her intelligence from her mother. Is that what happened there?
Yeah. Her mom is a molecular geneticist, PhD. And
you're not?
No, I'm a chartist, and a drummer. So I've pretty much hit my ceiling, guys.
Heck of a drummer too, by the way. Quite the musician. Man of many talents.
We had a big music festival this weekend, and it rocked. And I am super sunburnt. We were out there baking in the sun for
these Vikings baking in the sun. Tyler Wood, ladies and gentlemen of the CMT Association. If you guys have any ambitions whatsoever to profit in your portfolio, I would encourage you to listen to the things that Tyler Wood is saying. He is absolutely right. I'm not being paid for this. This is just a fact. You know, the CMT charter is not going to make you a worse investor.
So I will say we just concluded the June examination cycle. Congratulations to everybody who sat for their exams, and we opened the next round for December this year, 2023. So if you're thinking about it, got to grab the textbook. You've got 6 months to prepare. November 30th through December 11th is the testing window, but you can register right now.
And it's way easier than when I took it, is what I heard. Definitely not. Definitely not. All right. Bring in Kimmy. See you later, Tyler.
All right, guys.
We'll
have a great day.
Be good. Bring in Kimmy.
Keep fighting the good fight.
Kimmy.
Morning.
Good morning.
What's going on?
Oh, what's going on is that you got me looking at micro strategies. Somebody's getting involved in the crypto stocks. I like it, Kimmy.
I traded it Friday for a little bit. I thought it could go higher, but I just took my couple points and ran.
So what are you thinking here? Walk me through this trade.
Well, I need to see, it's basing in here, which is kind of good, right?
Yeah.
So, it's pulled back in. Let's see if it can continue. This name trade's very wide. I mean, look at the moves in it, right? You get 10, 15 point moves in it. So, I think if it has potential, it could clear around 335, potential back up to 347, so we'll see. But soon I'll be grading for the CMT next week.
But you're still grading these exams?
Oh, yeah. For like 8 years. I don't even know.
When I first met Kimmy, she's like, "Oh, you're a CMT. Oh, when'd you take your exam? Oh, I probably graded your test." That was a long time ago.
Hey, Jason. Yeah. Hey, everyone out there. Jason's a funny one. He's great.
It is 2023. I took mine in 06. I started taking those. So, I mean, 17
That was your first one, 06?
06, yeah. Yep. 06. Man.
I think I started 2002 with three. One of those.
I got to tell you, I was living in Hoboken, New Jersey at the time. I couldn't afford to live in the city yet. And I remember being on the bus, going back and forth from the city, back and forth to work and to Hoboken, and reading John Murphy's Technical Analysis of Financial Markets, and like being like halfway through chapter 7 and being like, this shit is for me. This is what I'm
Well,
talking about. Like I fell in love right
well,
away. Love at first sight, Kimmy.
well, when I took the CMT, I've always been a trader. I was a trader on a desk, and I took all 3 levels of CMT. I passed, but they didn't know if they wanted to give me the designation because I was a trader. And Fred Meisner stuck up and said, listen, we have John Murphy. That's a trader. He was like grandfathered in as a CMT, and said like, listen, we got to give trade. Cause really the CMT was about analysts that published. I'm not a published analyst. I was always a trader on a desk.
Oh yeah. I've opened it up since then to more.
Oh
Right.
yes, this is right. It's open, but back then it wasn't, and they had to say, "Hey, we gotta let traders in on this too." And so it kind of like they fought it back then, which was kind of good.
All right. So applying these methods to current markets, you're looking to get long micro strategies, maybe on a breakout. We saw new 52-week highs in Bitcoin over the weekend. Now it's consolidating up here near highs in a very similar, healthy manner. Bitcoin and micro strategies both. You can even argue a marathon as well, and even Riot, right? Here,
Sure.
pre-market down a little bit. All consolidating nicely. What about the tech short? So you've been since Friday. You've been kind of looking at tech from the short side. Do you still like it from the short side? What's going to change your
I have
mind?
to say, we have a holiday week well, this is like next week. What we have Monday, half day, right? I think the market's
Yeah.
open a half day. We'll see. Maybe they keep it kind of sideways and then bounce it, because they like everyone to go away happy on the weekend, on a holiday weekend. So, we'll see how they handle it. We had a big consolidation last week. The market pulled in, if you could call it big, and we'll see if it flags here and pushes higher. We have, the SPY and the Qs are trying to, they haven't pushed, they're below their 8-day, but they haven't pushed down to the 21-day, whereas the Dow and the IWM have, right? So we'll see how the SPYs and the Qs handle if they stay above the 21-day this week or not.
Your favorite trade going into the day, your favorite trade, still MSTR from the long side, or?
No, well, I got to see if it triggers.
Right.
So no, it's not necessarily my favorite trade. I am watching other names. I'm watching Goldman Sachs down here, see if it could push lower into like 313 area. We traded Morgan Stanley on Friday. I'm going to see how it handles over here. Maybe it bounces. I know they're going to do a stress test. I think that's coming out, right?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes. Kimmy, how do you handle geopolitical events like what unfolded in Russia this weekend as it relates to your process? What you're doing here?
Well, so far, the market's mute to it. The market doesn't seem to care right at this moment.
So is that the answer? You let the market decide? If
yeah,
that's the right answer. That's the right answer.
Let the market decide and keep your stop in. You know what I mean? You got to stop out. It's like as a trader or as an investor, sometimes in life, you got to say, okay, I'm going to cut it. I can come back to it.
Yep.
You just got to move along, and that's it. But anyway, guys, it's 9:24. I got to hop.
All
right, guys.
See ya. If you
have a good day.
If you guys are interested in following along Kimmy's trades, as we most certainly are, Izzy, if you could drop the link in the chat, that would be great. I don't have the ability to do that. Or you can hit the QR code to join Kimmy's room. And it is, man, I have been doing this for over 20 years now, and I have never seen a trader as consistent as Kimmy. Her hit rate, 4 out of every 5 trades is successful. And this is we're going on almost a year now. Kimmy just crushing it in the mornings. I've never seen anything like it. And it's not like, oh, she had a good month or, oh, she had a good week. It's consistent. So shout out to Kimmy. And if you'd like to join her, hit the QR code and hit her up. She's great. She's fantastic.
Okay, let's run that earnings bumper.
Hit it.
We'll do earnings real quick. This will be more of like an educational earnings segment. If you want to throw up the calendar, do we even have the calendar? We should.
There's nothing going on. It's like
Yeah, fine. All right. So it's pretty lonely out there. I don't even think we're doing the calendar for the next few weeks. So it's just Carnival today. I
Now
wanted
they're down.
Yeah. So I wanted to come on and talk about Carnival, right at the top of the show when things started. Usually earnings will hit the wire, man, before most of you guys are awake, 6:30, 7:30. Most of them are usually in by the time economic data comes out at like 8:30 on some days. Carnival had not released, so I was looking for the report earlier on, like 8:40, 8:45 when we were talking about it, and all I saw was people on Twitter asking about where's Carnival? The Carnival report, like what's going on here? Guys, it's really simple. If you're a public company, all of this information has to be easily accessible. You go to Google, you type in Carnival, then you type in investor relations. It'll come right up. You click on financial releases or even company events. It'll be right there. It'll be the top link almost all the time. So I went to their website. I saw, okay, the most current report up here is last quarter. They haven't dropped the report yet. Something must have happened. It's a little odd for the report to come out at 9:18. This can be anything from, we got to fix a couple, language errors or typos on, in the notes or something. It could be anything. It could be somebody overslept and get to work on time and was supposed to hit the button. So you don't overthink something like this. The report's out. EPS range 70 to 77 cents. They beat by 4 cents on the bottom line, and they also beat on the top line. How's the stock reacting, JC?
Down 5%, down almost 6%, as a matter of fact.
So again, you're seeing this a lot over the past few weeks where a lot of these companies ran a little bit too much into these reports. The numbers come out, everything's good, but they're still giving back. Again, I would say this is similar to some of the names that we discussed last week. It seems that these positive results were already baked in the cake.
Hold on. Somebody didn't wake up and press the button. Like, does that actually happen?
That's an extreme example, but yes, actually, the reason I use that example is because I lived through it once on an audit. Yeah, it could be a million different things. You don't want to overthink it. They got the report out, is I guess my point.
All right, they got it up. All right, so this thing has been an absolute monster. Clearly, a lot of these great earnings and whatnot were priced in. Yeah. This is one of those stocks that when people are like, "Oh, it's only 7 stocks," it's like, well, are Carnival Cruise Lines and Royal Caribbean doubling this year? Are those part of those 7 stocks? Are they up because of their artificial intelligence algorithms, or are they up because consumer discretionary stocks are doing so well, including home builders, including casino stocks? Right? It's not just 7 stocks. So clearly, a lot of this news was already priced in. Well-deserved consolidation. That's what you're seeing now. Pretty normal. This thing could dance around for a while. It doubled in 6 months, less.
It's almost tripled since last year, right? I mean, and we've seen this space do really well. Like whether you want to call it like the vacationing consumer or like, I guess it's consumer discretionary, but it's not been all of consumer discretionary subgroups. But travel is really working. People are still going on vacation. They're still eating out, travel, restaurant, lodging. We talked about casino stocks last week. So this space continues to look good. I see a lot of headlines and articles over the next quarter or two, if we don't get this recession that everybody's waiting for, about the economy coming back, right? That's probably going to be a pretty popular headline in the second half if we don't get a recession. The economy's already been back in many ways, at least the consumer economy. So how extended these trends really are right now depends on your time frame.
All right, I want to talk about some of these insider transactions. Carl Icahn making serious moves. Hit it, Izzy. Hit the hot corner.
Give me the bumper.
Hot corner. So hot right now.
All right, so Carl Icahn buying utility stocks, buying shitty, beat up utility stocks. Ugh.
Yeah, he's been buying this one for so long now. So Southwest, this is just his latest purchase, tiny. Only like $500,000. So it's been a favorite of his. I'm checking now for just how big of a position it is.
This thing is a disaster, man. You could tell that Warren Buffett definitely has a technical analyst that works for him because you can see the types of charts that Warren Buffett's buying. And then you look at the types of charts that Carl Icahn buys, and they look like this. They don't look like the stocks that Uncle Warren's buying, right?
Yeah, he seems to make a lot of mistakes, huh?
There's a lot of nasty charts that Carl Icahn's buying. Like, have you noticed?
He's got some Oxy warrants in here. I got to look into this. They're brand new, too. Interesting. Yeah, he's got Oxy warrants. March 27. Dude, him and Buffett definitely talk. If you remember, Icon was in Oxy, got out of Oxy when Buffett was getting in. Talk about exit liquidity for Icon, right? And now I'm seeing on Icon's latest 13F, he owns a ton of these warrants also. So I'll look into that after the show. That's really interesting. But anyway, the reason I was pulling up his holdings is I wanted to see just how material Southwest Gas is to him. It's his fourth largest position, right? So this is a big bet that Uncle Carl's making.
Does it even pay like a decent yield at least? It pays a 4% yield. Come on, Uncle Carl, you're better than that. How about what's his face? Howard Marks. Howard Marks stepping in and buying some oil and gas as well, huh?
Oak Tree, yeah. So that was a big one. Boosted their stake. They were in the news.
Howard Marks is the man, right? Isn't Howard Marks the man?
Yeah, he writes a great annual letter every year that people love. He's been
that I back in the day, I saw him give a presentation at Fairfield University. As a matter of fact, I was living in the city. I took the train out. I messaged a bunch of my college buddies. I'm like, yo, Howard Marks is giving a presentation at the what's the little event space there next to the church? What's it called?
I have no idea. I didn't go there.
The arts center.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Anyway, so I'm texting all my friends. None of my friends were interested in going to see Howard Marks. I took the train by myself. Last minute, one of my friends met up with me because I promised we'd go have beers afterwards. True story. And it was very interesting. It was very, he was talking a lot about bonds and interest rates and things like that. None of my friends were interested. I thought it was very cool.
Howard Marks is awesome. He's a legend. He's one of the guys.
All right, then why is he buying this shitty stock?
I don't know. I wasn't really going to talk about this one. The other ones stand out more. It's really Vera Therapeutics. Throw up Vera.
That's the one. Vera Therapeutics.
Because you had an institution and the CFO hit it at the same time. I don't know if the CFO is affiliated with the institution. That's always something you want to check. My guess is no. I don't know if Bonds, you have any insight, but there were two separate filings. This stock has been ripping, right? So you got an institution involved, Commodore Capital, and you got the CFO buying at its back at the same time. I like that a lot. Again, the CFOs kind of stand out to me more than CEOs. We've talked about that on here before. As it goes for trading opportunities, not one I'm interested in. The stock is really gappy, really illiquid, and it's below
It's filling that gap from the beginning of the year.
But wasn't the time to buy it a couple weeks ago when it was breaking out of that base, right?
Around 9.5, 10 to fill the gap, and now we filled the gap.
Right. So for me, this trade is over for the time being, but it's interesting to see both of these buyers out here at the same time. So
I'll tell you what, it's filling the gap. Let's see how it behaves here. I take that back. Strazza's right. The trade is over. There's nothing to do there. And I can't even find a situation where I would be like, well, if it does this, then I would get long. Like, this thing's just a mess. I don't have any ambitions whatsoever to get long this at all.
And then throw up Vistra Corp. Let's just do all of them. Interesting list today. It was a really nice list today.
Now, so this one is setting up nicely.
So not all utilities look like Southwest. What Carl Icon's buying. You could be buying a stock that looks like this in a nice uptrend, consolidating constructively for the past few years now in this little continuation pattern. We could be a buyer against the former highs here all day, right? So
this operates integrated retail electricity and power generation. Do you think this seems to be a little bit involved with this whole electric vehicle situation, is what it appears to be?
Yeah, it's a hot place right now. Everybody's doing it, right? Carnival down 8% just as an update. I want to hit the news real quick. JC, what do you think about this headline? I don't know what it means. Maybe you do.
Breaking news bumper? Did we retire it or do we have it, Izzy?
Breaking news? I don't know what we're doing with that one. Are we doing that? We're doing it. Are we doing it?
Did we retire it, Izzy?
I don't think
Spencer says it was too long. But hit me. What's the breaking news? What's interesting? The stock market is up. What else is new?
I don't think there's a group of stocks we've been paying more attention to or talking more about than last week than Bitcoin miners. So Riot dropped a PR this morning. Riot purchases 7.6 EHs, something hertz, maybe, of next generation miners from MicroBT, manufactured in the United States.
So Riot's going to be mining more. Is that what that means?
They're expanding their business. More machines, more mining. That's what it sounds like to me. I don't know what a EH of next generation miner is.
Sounds very fancy, though.
Let's go.
Doesn't it sound fancy? It sounds like a minor that I would want to have, maybe.
So I got out of my calls last week and I tried to roll them, but I was in the car Friday and I don't even know if I got filled. So I'm logging into my account right now. I don't even know what goes on.
Can I make a confession, Strazza, before we go over to the chart report?
Yeah, please confess to me.
So I'm putting in a pool in my backyard, right? And the whole hot tub, basketball court, the whole thing, right? We're getting all fancy. And my first conversation, so my pool artist guy, he's a junkie.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, like the backyard artist guy.
Yeah.
He's a junkie. I can't have a conversation with him without him asking about Ethereum or Bored Apes or Microsoft. Like he's just into it and he knows that I'm into it, obviously. So I'm like, okay. So I felt more comfortable approaching him with this a question. So I'm like, so my understanding is that I can have a Bitcoin mining operation and use that to heat my pool, right? And he looked at me seriously like I was fucking crazy. Like he's like, GC, stop. We're not doing that. It's not going to happen. And I'm like, but I heard that I can heat my pool with, right? Because like Craig Johnson, for example, who we need to have on the show. When's Craig Johnson coming on the show? I'm pretty sure he like helps to heat his own home with his mining operation. No?
So I don't know if people still talk that way as much as they used to a few years ago. I don't know. That sounds crazy to me.
I was ready to go. My Bitcoin mining operation, heating my pool. I'm saving money. I'm making money. Like in theory, this sounded like genius. And he's like, no. So that's my confession. It didn't work. So, all right, Izzy, let's get into the chart report. Hit it.
Run a bumper. I'm trying to put.
All right, so the chart report, if you guys are not reading the chart report, your life has gone terribly wrong somehow. It takes you, I'm a little bit OCD, so it might take me like a minute, but like if you're like a normal person, it should take you no more than 10, 15, 20 seconds to take a look at it. Patrick Dunawilla does a heck of a job of aggregating the best technical analysis being done by the best technicians in the world every single weekday. I mean, it's a no-brainer. So this one from Friday, what stood out to you?
I didn't look at it. I was away from my desk Friday.
Speaking of your life gone horribly wrong, here's Steve Strazza, a representative of All-Star Charts, spending his mornings at the beach listening to anti-Russian propaganda on Twitter Spaces instead of reading the chart report.
Stop. I was early. Listen, I'm a chart report person. I was in there with Patrick in the early days. I helped with the top 10 report he did this weekend. I love the chart report. It's the best report out there. I didn't look at this one. I was in the car. I was listening to Russia things. You're right. I feel bad. Scroll down. Let me take a look.
Sounds like it's a problem. I like Sam McCollum. Shout out Sam. Where's Sam? Sam's in Scotland, I think, right? Where's Sam?
Why is Sam making fun of me?
Sam is not making fun of you. Sam is the chart that I'm highlighting on the chart report. Sam McCollum, Honey Stocks 1. You want to throw that up there?
We got a chart like this.
Talking about the German DAX. You know.
So, Fonz, you know what to do. Flip back to our deck now. This is going on here, and I want to know what you think about it. So international stocks have been really strong. Throw up the DAX and CAC chart, fellas. We have some failed breaky. We have some pullbacks, some corrective action from these very strong indexes overseas. Are you concerned about this? What do you think when you see kind of formations like this? And
you know what I'm seeing? I'm seeing this, and we talked about it last week.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the technology sector index, XLK, bumping up against those same highs. You're looking at Apple and Microsoft bumping up against those same highs. You're seeing German DAX and France, but they look exactly the same. Yeah. It's not a tech thing. It's not a United States thing.
Leaders thing.
It's a stock thing.
Yeah. The best stocks look this way.
So I would say, not what I would say, I'll tell you what I'm doing. Whenever I'm in these predicaments, which I find myself in regularly, wondering, okay, how are these going to react to this former resistance, et cetera, et cetera? You know what I do? I look to see what other stocks and other sectors and other indexes in this same predicament and looking to see what they did. And, you know, when I look at names like NVIDIA, ripping right through that, look at Palo Alto Networks, another one, PANW, ripping right through those former highs, like it's not even there, in my opinion, increases the likelihood that these also exceed those highs. So kind of look around what else is happening in the other areas That's how I look at it. I think that a lot of these recognizing that resistance, absorbing that overhead supply, I think it's perfectly normal. I think the abnormal, like the less, the less likely scenarios when NVIDIA did just rip right through that, right? So I think it, and I've been saying it, I think it's normal for us to expect some sort of digestion of these gains, well-deserved, not just in technology, but in France and Germany and some of these areas as well. And that's what we're seeing. I don't know if it's going to take a couple days, couple weeks, couple months, couple quarters. I don't know. But I do think that we ultimately break out above those levels and go on to make new highs. You know why? Because more and more of them continue to do that.
You're basically saying, what are the other ones doing, right? What are their peers doing? And if you're new to technical analysis, it almost seems like elementary. Like, no, it can't be that easy. No, it literally is. Make a list. How many of them are going and getting above these highs, resolving from similar formations? How many of them are getting stuffed and rejected at these highs and pulling back, and you're seeing corrective action? Make a little list and then weigh the evidence that way. It's one of the best exercises, one of the best things you can do. And guess what? It really, really works as well as anything.
Definitely. I also wanted to talk about PayPal. I was doing a little bottom fishing last week. Did I buy PayPal last week or the week before? I think it was last week.
We're in the PayPal. I'll get in the PayPal with you.
I mean, I'm in here. Let me just drop the chart here. Throw up slide 1 here on the PayPal. Whoops. Hold on.
I'm cheesed.
Go to slide 1 there on the PayPal. For me, I mean, I'm in. I'm in. If we can hold above this 67 level, I'm going to stay in. Those are the former lows from last year. The bet is that this is a failed breakdown. So from failed moves come fast moves in the opposite direction. That's what it looks like to me. And by the way, I forgot to mention, drop in the TCR, the QR code if you're interested in signing up for the free daily chart report. I encourage you to do that. Izzy, if you want to throw up the code, there you go. I forgot to mention it. You see, that's why we have Spencer here to keep us in check.
Are you in
these things?
JC, you in PayPal options or common? How are you doing this?
I am in the options. I am in the. I'll tell you right now. Give me a second. I'll pull up my account quickly.
Which ones? Because I know Sean got you in the 25 deltas, and those are the ones I want.
I'm pretty sure I'm in the Januaries here. Give me 1 second, and I'll let you know. But like I said, click there for the chart report. I think it's fantastic. And then in terms of the PayPal.
Yeah.
For me, whether you own the common, I mean, honestly, between you and me, the common is the easier trade. It's the more well-defined trade because you really only want to be long if we're above those former lows. I'm in the January 100s. I'm in the January 100s, thinking that we get back to last summer's highs. All we have to do is get back to August highs, that's really not that big of a deal.
How much did you guys pay for these things?
Almost nothing. Almost nothing. $1.20, something like that. I don't know if Sean's in this trade. Like $1.20 or something like that. No, almost nothing.
Bring Sean on. Is he?
Johnny baby, hit the bumper. We're not even gonna hit the bumper.
Run the bumper. Run the bumper. I wanted to talk about this.
Johnny baby.
Top of the morning, boys. No, I am not currently in PayPal, but I've been keeping my eye on it.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I went rogue on this one.
Wait, what?
You went rogue, and sometimes you go rogue, sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it does. You got the golden touch sometimes, JC. I'm always impressed.
Are these the 25 deltas though? Sean, can we confirm that?
Which how many deltas? I went rogue. I went deltaless. I just went, You know what I did? Here's my thought process. Here's my thought. My thought is we get back to the August highs. How far out can I go? Can I go to January? And it was like $1 and change. I was like, yeah, that's good. That was my thought. It was that simple.
Why not do the 80s? I don't know. All right.
Hold on. What strike did you buy?
With the volatility index hitting new 3-year lows and premiums are cheap as hell, you're able to go out to higher strikes and further out.
You mean lower strikes?
Higher strikes. What do you mean lower strikes?
Well, I'm saying, why didn't you go to a higher strike? 75 is $10 away, $8 away.
Because you and I have different objectives and time horizons. I don't know if you've noticed,
yeah,
but I don't put on options trades that expire in 4 days. Like, that's just not how I roll.
No, I'm saying, why didn't you pick a higher strike? Get a little more juice in there. I'm looking at January too. listen, I don't trade weekly options normally. I'm doing it for fun on the show. Well, I do it.
Strazza, let me talk you off the ledge for a second. Let me give you a little options trading truth. All right. There is no perfect. All right. There's no perfect strike. There's no perfect strategy. There's trade-offs. There's pros and cons to everything. You guys know when I'm buying long calls, I generally like to buy the 25 delta. It's not because 25 delta is the magic strike. It's just because for me, I like the leverage when I get it right, and I like that it's cheap when I get it wrong. That's it. It's not perfect.
And that's bullshit, because all this time sitting back here thinking this was the magic strike that I'm getting. All right, so fine. I'll just buy whatever. I'll just buy the PayPal hundreds then.
Hey, Strazza, you know, we joke, but there's a lot of truth to the fact that whatever you're trading, right?
Mhm.
If your signal is just a coin flip, your heads you go long, tails you go short, I'd be willing to bet that as long as you apply proper position sizing and proper risk management over time, I bet you would be profitable.
Really? All right. Wow. Okay.
Just throwing that out there. Just so again, it doesn't come down, you know, it doesn't matter what strike you buy. It doesn't matter, you know, just don't overthink it. If you're bullish, get in. If you're bearish, get in, whatever.
Why don't we do a show where we spin a wheel, we close our eyes, we throw a dart at it, buy whatever the wheel says, and
Hold
then
on, we don't do that now? That's not what we're doing now?
That sounds like Davey Day Trader's show.
Yeah.
Right.
Uber looks good. All right, what else are we trading? Sean wants to talk about the Bitcoin miners. Listen, it's not my fault that everybody wants to talk about the Bitcoin miners these days. So
I'm in. Sean, what do you got? You got the Riot and the Mara, or just the Mara?
I am just in Mara right now. And look, of course I'm talking my book here, but man, I'm loving this setup. We've been in this for a little bit now, for a little bit over a month. We're already double what we paid in the options when we got in. When did we get in? We got in like 6 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago.
$2.
Yeah, I bought them for $1.85. What did I buy? I bought the
January 14th.
Yeah, there you go. January 14th. I paid $1.85 for them. They're trading, you know, about, you could probably get out $3.50 right now if you wanted. But I feel like this thing's just getting started, man. I like the look of this setup.
I mean, we got 6 months on, right? More.
We got a lot. In the Bitcoin world, this 6 months is an eternity, right? We got a long time.
Exactly, which is, you know, and I think PayPal is kind of like you know, it's not a pure play on crypto and things like that. But the way I look at it, and Strazza, I want to hear your thoughts on this. If the Mara and the Bitcoin and the Riot and all these things and the micro strategies and like all those types of stocks are ripping,
yeah,
you think PayPal's crashing, or is PayPal playing catch up?
No, but PayPal's got to worry about their legacy business.
Right my God, their legacy! I can't with you.
No, it's true. They have
what the fuck are you talking about? Legacy business? It's a failed breakdown. It's either going to go or it's not. Legacy business. What even is that?
The stock has been beat up because there are fundamental concerns. That's all I'm going to say. There are some serious fundamental concerns there, and they're not going to claw back these losses from getting into crypto. That's not the future.
Well, they got into crypto and they took losses? Is that what happened?
No, their legacy business has been having some issues dealing with competition, things like that. Listen, a lot of people think that blockchain, we don't know who yet, but will be incredibly disruptive to your Squares and your PayPals of the world. So they are companies that are looked at as kind of like on the chopping block for whatever this new technology is that's coming, right? Because what did they do? They came in and they made payments easier than the legacy firms, the banks at the time. Now these guys are the legacy firms, and they're at risk of somebody coming in and making payments even easier. So that's
Strazza, I'm with you, buddy. I'm a little bit cautious on PayPal. I've been watching it, and I know that you guys think that if this thing, you know, if this reverses, it can reverse hard, and I agree. But for me, like, it's got to at least get above 70. Like, it's got to show me that it wants to go before I'm willing to take a position.
All right, I got a question for you yeah, and I like that too. Like, let's see the scoop. Like, I'm kind of looking at it today as like, are we getting the scoop? And this is just a textbook retest, right? Because it really depends on where you draw this line. I wish we had a more zoomed in chart. Like, it's 67.50 in my mind, JC, really like 67.40. We're at 67.40 right now. We got a nice little, like what looked like a breakout last week, started to go, got as high as, 69. And now we're pulling back. Like, backing into this 66, 67 range the past two sessions. Is this just kind of like a retest and go? I don't know.
Well, we're going to find out quickly. And by the way, as far as finding out quickly, one of my favorite parts of a particular trade over the years has been how quickly are we going to know we're wrong? I don't care whether I'm right or wrong. People are like, oh, JC, you were wrong. Yeah, all right. So what? I don't give a shit whether I was right or wrong. I'm only here to make money. So if I'm going to know that I'm wrong, I'd rather know this week than 6 months from now. I want to know right away.
It's a standard consumer behavior. Like, you want your money back right away if something doesn't work, right?
I'm not here to be right. I'm only here to make money. So if I'm going to be wrong, don't I want to know as quickly as humanly possible? And PayPal is that. So like borrowing some like massive gap down, and I'm okay with that because I own calls. So there's an inherent risk management already built into the trade. But if we start breaking below 67 again, all bets are off. And I might know today or tomorrow or later this week. And then maybe we end the week in the 70s and we're off to the races. And now I got 6 months to just sit back and enjoy the ride and watch us make money here. Potentially. Or not, JC, or we're out this week and we move on.
JC, I'll add to that by saying, like, yes, we love to be wrong right away. If we're going to be wrong, let's just rip that Band-Aid off. And on the flip side of that, our mutual friend, Peter Brandt, loves to tell people that the best trades are the ones that work right away. The ones that just take off as soon as you get in, those always end up being the best trades. So why waste your time on anything else?
I don't know about always. It's a good sign. You're right, and moving on quickly helps sort of the brain energy and the psychology aspect of the whole thing, right? You know.
Sure.
Do we got anything else, or can we move on to recess?
We could. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we could go to recess.
I'm here for recess.
Hit it, Izzy. Hit it, Izzy. All right, guys. I'm throwing it to you guys. Some people were asking me about the wine. Chateau Fibonacci is tasting fantastic, by the way, 2021 vintage. I actually ordered a bunch of Left Bank Bordeaux and some other high-quality Calistoga Cabernet. I'm going to do side-by-side tastings, later on this week to really confirm that my wine's better than the rest of those. But on another note altogether, the two of you are leaving 1 week from tomorrow out to Asia. I'm going to throw two questions. Number one, what are you looking forward to the most? And number two, Strazza, what are you scared about the most?
Apparently, I'm drinking snake wine. I don't know what that is or how I got nominated, but it's the food, right? And the culinary experience. I'm excited about all that. I've been watching like a Netflix series. It's called Midnight in Asia, and it's really about like the street food in all these different cities. And so I'm just getting like so psyched watching this food porn all weekend.
Dude, you need to be careful with some of the street food. In Hong Kong and Singapore, I think you'll be fine. Yeah. Let me tell you something. I had some fish balls in Manila, like right on the side of the road. They were frying these little fish balls. Literally, as I'm chewing it, my stomach's already rumbling. Like, be careful.
There's that rice broth in Manila. Manila looked really cool. I don't know. I'm doing my homework. I'm doing my research now.
So, all right. I'm glad that you asked Strazza what he's afraid of, because the thing that I'm most looking forward to is Strazza losing his shit. That's what I'm looking forward to. Strazza's going to go into full panic mode when something doesn't work out right.
He's going to be sweating.
He's going to be sweating. It's going to make for some great video footage. I can't wait.
We should do outtakes of me sweating and complaining about sweating. So, yeah, we'll do some fun stuff.
What are you scared about, Sean?
What am I scared about? Maybe I'm crazy, but I'm not scared about anything, boys. I'm very excited. I'm excited to meet new people. I'm excited to taste some new foods. I'm excited to see these financial centers all around Southeast Asia. We're going to try to find the local stock exchanges, if they even exist anymore. I'm excited about learning about the history of the financial markets in these places. And I'm just looking forward to meeting people with different viewpoints about the world. That's what I'm excited about.
And people who like charts. Sean is worried about, if Sean's worried about anything, it's, us getting delayed at airports. And I want all the travel to go okay. And
Actually, now that I think about it, I am worried about one thing.
What is this?
Strazza's big time in me. Strazza spent the weekend in Miami fucking buying all these beautiful new clothes. He's getting himself all dolled up. I haven't done any shopping. I got nothing but old clothes. Here's what I'm thinking, Strazza. I'm thinking maybe when we're in Vietnam, maybe I'll do some clothes shopping in Vietnam. I could probably get some nice stuff real cheap. What do you think about that?
Like some local gear. I like that. Yeah.
Why not?
Right. We should both do that. We could dress up. Listen,
hold on. I want you guys to not forget, and we're going to go over later this week before you guys take off. But remember, there's going to be a 2-part episode that is the making of the Asia documentary that's going to be shot by you guys. So you guys can't forget to grab the camera from Giancarlo and turn it around.
Oh, that's
you guys can take turns. Strazza, try not to break the camera, please.
No, listen, I know what to do with these things.
Try not to break it. Put it over your neck, so that it doesn't fall.
You have no idea.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to turn the cameras on our crew. That's going to be great.
Cameras are expensive as shit, man.
I'm not going to break anything. I don't.
Well, we have insurance, but still,
Now I forgot my thought.
Well,
the thought is don't forget to get good footage of Giancarlo, because Giancarlo, for those of you who don't know, Giancarlo might be the best character of them all. So the 2-part making of docuseries, you guys got to get them all sauced up in Taipei or something like that and get them stumbling around the streets,
We will. I can't wait to turn the cameras on Giancarlo.
Yeah.
The nightlife there is crazy too. That was covering that in these documentaries too, and they stay up way too late. We got things to do. So
how does that jive with my 10 p.m. bedtime?
Yeah, it seems like they don't start partying until 10 p.m. in some of these cities. So what?
And you guys are going to be chiming into the show because it's about a 12-hour difference. So over there, your evenings are our morning. So you guys are going to be chiming in from Ho Chi Minh or wherever onto the morning show, saying what's up. How much trading are you guys going to be doing out there?
I probably won't do much trading at all. In fact,
You're such a liar.
To expiries, I don't.
You're such a liar,
dude.
You're such a liar. He's going to be like on his phone in Vietnam, being like, "Ooh,
he's going to get so inspired by the Asian traders that are all junkies. He's going to be like, "What can I get into?"
What about you, Sean? How much trading are you going to be doing?
The intraday trading that I do on the index level, I'm probably going to take a break on that for a little while. But, the longer term positions that I put on, I still plan on managing those things the way I do. I don't need to watch every tick on those things.
You already have a plan, so it's easy. You're just going to stick to the plan.
Exactly. Going to stick to the plan. You got it.
Yeah. Easy peasy.
I just want to say the breathability of some of these new golf shirts that they make is incredible. Sean, that's what I'm going with. Just breathable polos, mostly. I'm
so worried about sweating.
Yeah, I got breathable socks. I got breathable shoes. Wait till you see my mesh shoes.
What is a breathable sock?
I just don't want to sweat. I don't know how much we're going to be outside.
Dude, you're going to be in Kuala Lumpur and air conditioners break there constantly. I can attest. It's going to be hot, boy. It's going to be hot.
I did confirm, Strazza, that every one of our hotels has a pool. So at least you got that going for you.
I will be swimming.
By the way, all the Toro and the Uni in Tokyo is going to be on your dime. I told Centerpoint all the expensive sushi in Tokyo is not going to be on you guys. Strazza's covering that.
We'll talk offline. No shot.
Oh, there goes the Strazza stress meter. There it goes.
Dude. Strazza's had sushi with me too many times, so now he's like super bougie when it comes to his raw fish.
I do like quail eggs in my uni. That's right, Carrie. Lots of new bull market shirts coming soon.
All right, I can't. All right, guys. Listen, for Kimmy Sokoloff, thank you for being here. Tyler Wood and the CMT Association. Shout out T Wood. If you're interested in getting your CMT designation, like I said, it's not going to make you a worse investor. It's going to make you a part of a pretty awesome community. So highly encourage that. Shout out to Sean McLaughlin. Continues to kill it. I went rogue on the PayPal trade. So far, it's not really doing anything. So I guess we will see what is going on. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thanks for being on the show. Give us a like. Hit the subscribe button so that you never miss an update. And if you have any questions at all, you know where to find us. Hasta luego.
Running, I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs.